But we're with you for a 3-hour Washington Journal today, and we begin this morning on the topic of celebrity activism. Kanye West's Oval Office meeting with President Trump caused a media frenzy yesterday, but it was just one high-profile moment in a year full of celebrity activism. We want to know this morning if you think celebrity activists matter. Do you think they've made a real impact this year? If so, who and what issue? Republicans can give us a call this morning at 202-748-8001, Democrats 202-748-8000, Independents 202-748-8002. You can also catch up with us on social media. On Twitter, it's at C-SPAN-WJ. On Facebook, it's facebook.com/C-SPAN. And a very good Friday morning to you. You can start calling in now. The headline in today's New York Times about a Kanye West President Trump meeting yesterday just called them Danye. Here's a bit of what the musician and fashion designer said in that meeting with the president yesterday.
What I need the liberals to improve on is if he don't look good, we don't look good. This is our president. He has to be the freshest, the flyest planes, the best factories, and we have to make our core be empowered. We have to bring jobs into America because our best export is entertainment and ideas. But when we make everything in China and not in America, then we're cheating on our country. And we're putting people in positions to have to do illegal things to end up in the cheapest factory ever, the prison system.
That was Kanye West yesterday in the Oval Office. We want to hear from you this morning about celebrity activism in 2018. Do you think it matters? Give us a call. We'll get to your calls in just a second, but we're joined on the phone now by Ted Johnson, senior editor at Variety, covered this meeting with Kanye West and the president yesterday. Ted Johnson, what was the original reason for Kanye West to come to the White House yesterday?
Well, the stated reason from the White House itself, from Press Secretary Sarah Huckabee Sanders, was to talk about a range of issues. I think first and foremost was criminal justice reform. But as you saw from the meeting, Kanye West went on for about 10 minutes on so many different topics. So I think that kind of got lost in the shuffle.
And it was a busy day for celebrities at the White House yesterday. Kid Rock was there. The Beach Boys were there. What were some of these other meetings about yesterday?
Well, yeah, there was actually right before this meeting with Kanye West, there was a bill signing ceremony for the Music Modernization Act. Now, this is a piece of legislation that is all about music licensing and music royalty reform to streamline that process. It gets incredibly technical, but this has been a long-desired legislative achievement for the music industry. They finally got it, and Trump happened to be the president to sign it. So naturally, the question was who was going to show up for the signing ceremony, and they managed to get together this group of artists, as you said, that included Kid Rock, Mike Love. They thought Kanye might be there for the signing ceremony as well. So that was why there was a lot of activity that had to do with the music industry yesterday at the White House.
So plenty of activists over the past 2 weeks coming off of the protests over the Brett Kavanaugh nomination to the Supreme Court. We saw Taylor Swift get involved in promoting a candidate in the Tennessee Senate race, Kanye West, Kid Rock. When it comes to the November election, what celebrity appearance over the past 2 weeks do you think will actually have the most impact?
Well, the only celebrity appearance that we actually have data on seems to be Taylor Swift. She put out this endorsement of two Tennessee candidates on Instagram and urged people to register to vote. And within the next 24 hours, there's a spike in voter registration. I think there's probably a good chance that that's a correlation right there. But when it comes overall to celebrity endorsements or celebrity activism, I think people certainly pay attention. The tougher thing to prove is whether they actually take action. I'm kind of skeptical whether whether a celebrity who says vote for this candidate or whether a celebrity says take this action actually has a huge impact. And one of the reasons is, especially for younger voters, younger activists, we're they're bombarded with messages these days, and I think a lot of things just get lost in the shuffle. There's so much coming at you that I question whether the impact is as great as maybe it was 10 years ago when we saw, for example, Oprah Winfrey endorse President Obama, and that seemed to have a really big impact on his campaign, especially in Iowa, the first state to vote.
David Drucker is a reporter with the D.C. Examiner, also a frequent guest on CNN. He tweeted yesterday, basking in the support of celebrity entertainers is a bipartisan exercise politicians of both parties have practiced for years. When can it backfire?
Well, it can backfire when a celebrity gets out there and starts talking in a real kind of crazy way and says things that are a little outrageous or embarrasses the candidate, says profanity. We saw some of that with Kanye West. Or in the case of, for example, Robert De Niro, he went out at the Tony Awards and delivered an F-bomb about President Trump. The response from the Republican National Committee is they actually put together a video of different celebrities saying outrageous things about President Trump, and they collected it all together, and the whole title of the video was Unhinged. I mean, that's the thing, is you tend to see Republicans attack Democrats a lot more for their celebrity support, and I think a lot of that is just driven by the mere fact that Hollywood leans to the left, and Republicans are looking for any opportunity to try to brand Democrats as kind of out of touch and part of the coastal elite. But there's a little bit of hypocrisy in that is that Republicans will jump at any chance to embrace any celebrity that likes them, that endorses them, and that's what we saw with Donald Trump and Kanye West.
When we've talked about Hollywood leading up to previous election cycles, it's usually about the money being donated to campaigns, to different committees. What is this cycle compared to last cycle when it comes to the money coming out of Hollywood for Democrats and Republicans and their campaigns?
I just looked at the figures, and the breakdown is about the same. This is according to the Center for Responsive Politics. The breakdown tends to be about 80% of the money going to Democrats, 20% of the money going to Republicans, a few percentage point difference. It dipped just slightly for Democrats this cycle. And then as far as the total amount of money, I think we're looking at record sums to all candidates coming out of Hollywood this cycle compared to past midterm elections, which speaks to the level of activism that's actually out there. And forgive me, I don't have the exact figure right at my fingertips right now, but this is coming from OpenSecrets.org, which is the only group that really goes contribution by contribution and kind of puts them into these different classifications, and it's quite good.
Well, Ted Johnson, before you go, over the next 25 days, what's one or two political action committees that are connected to Hollywood that you're watching, that viewers should watch, that you think might actually have an impact?
Well, there's a group called Swing Left that is doing a lot of work, especially in some of these California congressional districts, and they're rounding up a lot of celebrities to do get out the vote efforts, and they're particularly focused on using celebrities to try to get people to volunteer the weekend before the midterm elections. They did a lot of work right in advance of the California primary, and that seemed to help a lot. I know there was a lot of concern over Democrats getting shut out of the primary. So I think that's one group I'm keeping an eye on. But I got to tell you, there's so many different celebrity get out the vote videos that I'm getting just pretty much every day. We saw a lot of that in 2016. This year in 2018, I think there's a lot of feeling that things are going to be different this time around, that they're a little more savvy about how they're making these videos and then how they're deploying celebrities.
Ted Johnson, senior editor for Variety. Appreciate your time this morning.
Thank you.
Ted Johnson was just talking about the swing left group. Actor Samuel L. Jackson cut a new ad that was released yesterday for that group, supporting Angie Craig over Republican Jason Lewis in Minnesota's 2nd District. Here's that ad.
This isn't just a kiddie commode. This is Angie Craig's kiddie commode. The same Angie Craig who's running for Congress in November to represent Minnesota's 2nd District. With the midterms only days away, Angie's busy on the campaign trail 24/7, making sure the people in her district know she's going to fight for them, which is why I'm here scooping out bits of kitty treasure for her. It's really important that Angie wins so the Democrats can take back the House, and I'd do anything to help her. Anything. I am so not a cat person.
That ad just released yesterday, and we're talking to you this morning about celebrity activism in 2018. The question doesn't matter. Rosa's up first. Newman, Georgia, Democrat. Rosa, what do you think?
Yes, good morning, C-SPAN. Thank you for taking my call. I watched the Kanye West ranting yesterday in the Oval Office, and it was quite bizarre. I think that it was insulting for President Trump to allow him to rant on for so long about everything from mental illness to the money that he has. I don't think that it was a good idea to give him audience in that way and using profanity. What kind of example is that setting for our children? And as president, he needs to really behave in a more mature and an adult way. I pray that he will have some wisdom.
Staying in Georgia, Tony's up next. Republican, good morning.
Good morning. Yeah, I'd like to see more black people with a voice for our president speak up, because this is foolishness the way they're trying to label him as a racist. Thank you.
Tony, what did you think of Kanye West's appearance in the Oval Office yesterday? Did you catch it?
Yes, sir. I thought it was great. Like I said, I think more people ought to be talking about it. Jim Brown's one of the greatest football players that ever lived. What did he say about Colin Kaepernick? I thought that was stupid for that man. If he wants to pray, he needs to pray at home.
Tony, do you think celebrity activists make a difference in your mind? Has a celebrity activist ever changed an opinion, a political opinion for you?
Not really. I mean, these people are millionaires and billionaires. I'm just a hard-working old fella down here in Georgia trying to make a living.
It's Tony in Lula, Georgia this morning. Maria's up next. Atlanta, Georgia. Line for Democrats. Good morning.
Hi, good morning, John. How are you all?
I'm doing well.
I'm calling. I looked at it yesterday, and in all sincerity, too. I've told people more than once that Kanye has a problem. And the reason why 45 became so stunned with him was silence, because he really sees himself. I work with mental people. I've been doing it over 15 years. There's nothing to laugh about. There's nothing to get outraged about with Kanye West, because he's mentally ill. And Donald Trump is, too. I'm not trying to be funny, because I work with this. If I'm going to sit up there and laugh and complain about Donald Trump and Kanye West, I should do it at my patients that I go to daily. It's just a serious illness. It has nothing to do with him liking Donald Trump or his reaction. He's just sick, that's all. And people shouldn't make fun of people like that. And Donald Trump sees himself within him. That's all. And I'm not trying to be funny and no demeaning either one of them. Like I said, I work with this over 15 years, and that's all I have to say.
Some reaction on Capitol Hill to Kanye West's meeting with the president at the White House in the Oval Office yesterday. Brian Schatz, senator from Hawaii. I don't have a Kanye quip. He said this is actually sad for the country and not hilarious. Brendan Boyle, Democrat from Pennsylvania. Options for Donald Trump's afternoon: 1, help victims devastated by a massive hurricane sweeping through Florida. 2, put on a reality television show with Kanye West in the Oval. Guess what he picked? And one more tweet from Robert Costa, a political reporter with the Washington Post, talking about his interaction with Senator Jeff Flake yesterday. Senator Flake, alone with his wireless earbuds on, is looking down into his phone and watching a video of Kanye West in the Oval. I walk over and pull him aside in the Senate basement. Reality meets reality television, Flake tells me, shaking his head. We're getting your thoughts this morning. Celebrity activism in 2018. Do you think it matters? Is it going to matter on Election Day? Johnny in Albany, Georgia, Democrat, good morning.
Good morning. I think that when you go to insane asylum to get your audience, then you're going to have an insane audience. I don't care where they come from, if they're actors or not actors or whatever they are, bankers or whatever. If they're insane, they're going to be insane. And so that's what he did. He went and got people who he thought would say something favorable to him. You know how he loved people talking favorable about him, and therefore he got exactly what he went looking for. Trump have a problem himself, and he need to see somebody about it. That's about all I got to say. Bye-bye.
That's Johnny this morning, and Marion's up next. Lakewood, New Jersey, a Republican. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. First of all, it depends on the message, and he was giving a message to tell all the black people that they don't have to listen to the Democrats and vote that way. For years, they have done nothing, including Obama, for the black community. Look at just Chicago alone. Plus, you know, Obama had so many celebrities coming in and out of the White House. It wasn't funny. He had Beyonce that she practically lived there. And the other day there was a woman caller that she wanted to know who's paying for President Trump's trips with all these here campaigning that he does. Well, I want to tell her it's the same people that paid for Obama with all his trips to go fundraising in Hollywood and in New York City and bringing his kids to Broadway shows and everything and going to campaign in New York City with all his rich friends. So it's the same people, us. We're the ones who are paying for it. So if you're going to knock what Trump does, you better start knocking what Obama does.
That's Marion in New Jersey this morning. Phone lines again, Republicans 202-748-8001, Democrats 202-748-8000, Independents 202-748-8002. Want to hear your thoughts on celebrity activism this year. Here's a poll on it from the Hollywood Reporter Morning Consult, put together a poll from September 27th through October 1st from a national sample of over 2,000 adults. The question they asked: when celebrities ask their opinions or express their opinions about political and social issues they care about, how effective are they in influencing choices in the 2018 midterm elections? Just 8% saying that they're very effective, 17% saying they are somewhat effective, 19% saying they're not very effective, 40% saying not at all effective. And one more stat from that poll, the question asked by the polling company about celebrity views, 50% saying they don't really know the political views of the celebrities that they follow. 29% think that the celebrities that they follow should not express their opinions about political issues and social issues in public. More from that poll as we go through this segment this morning. But we especially want to hear from you. Is there a celebrity that you follow that's expressed an opinion that's made a difference to you? Michael, West Palm Beach, Florida, Republican. Go ahead.
Hi, John. Thank you, CNN, as well. C-SPAN. I was watching the report on CNN the other day, and some of the verbiage coming out just not in support of Kanye West from some of the people they had on there, and one of them was a senator. You know, and the words that they're saying, I can't even repeat them on the phone. And it's just an awful thing to see that many, many artists, many musicians, many people in film all think that, you know, they're liberal-minded people, but they also think that transcribes somehow into being liberal in their viewpoint with politics. You know, what the Democratic Party is now. You know, Bernie Sanders said it, democratic socialism. How is being liberal socialist? And that would be my question to most of them.
Roger's up next in Hurley, Virginia, Democrat. Good morning.
Good morning, America.
Go ahead, Roger.
I'd like to make a little comment before I answer that question. This Republican Party seems to me like they've lost their way. They act more like communists than they do Republican Party. The election of Barack Obama has destroyed this country.
Roger, as a Democrat, did you not support Barack Obama?
Yeah, I supported him. But look what the Republican Party did. For 6 straight years, they said no to everything. And then Donald Trump gets in there and it's yes, yes, yes. We don't have no hearings on anything he does. Barack Obama's in there, is one hearing right after nothing. It got so that's all we've seen in was hearings. Whether or not, look at the White House. How many times has it been shot up since Donald Trump's been in office? Not one time. I haven't seen anybody run in there with a knife. So no, I don't think that the activism of these California people makes any difference. Our country is lost, and the Republican Party has allowed it to be attacked again and again and again. If this had happened under Obama, the roofs would have been torn off the buildings.
That's Roger in Virginia this morning. Activism not just coming out of Hollywood, but Nashville as well. The Instagram post by country music star Taylor Swift made headlines this week. Here's what she said in that post. In the past, I've been reluctant to publicly voice my political opinions, but due to several events in my life and in the world in the past 2 years, I feel very differently about that now. I always have and always will cast my vote based on which candidate will protect and fight for human rights. I believe we all deserve that in this country. She said, I believe that the systemic racism we still see in this country towards people of color is terrifying, sickening, and prevalent. I cannot vote for someone who will not be willing to stand up for the dignity of all Americans, no matter their skin color, gender, or what they love. Running for Senate in the state of Tennessee is a woman named Marsha Blackburn. As much as I have in the past and would like to continue voting for women in office, I cannot support Marsha Blackburn. Marsha Blackburn, the Republican running against Democrat Phil Bredesen in that high-profile, very closely watched Tennessee Senate race. Of course, President Trump supporting Marsha Blackburn in that race. President Trump responded to that Facebook post by Taylor Swift earlier this week.
Marsha Blackburn is doing a very good job in Tennessee. She's leading now substantially, which she should. She's a tremendous woman. I'm sure Taylor Swift has nothing or doesn't know anything about her. And let's say that I like Taylor's music about 25% less now, okay?
Getting your thoughts on celebrity activism in 2018. Does it matter? Richard in Nashville, independent. Go ahead. Richard, you with us? Go ahead.
No, sir, it doesn't matter. I live right in the middle of country music. I've seen them all. I see them when the cameras are not on them. I live about 2 miles from most of your most famous ones, and most of them, I've been in situations in limousines where I've seen them go in and do things about say no to drugs and go right back out to their limousines and snort cocaine. I have personally seen it, and it's some of the biggest names that you would ever think of. Now, as far as Taylor Swift, she is not a Southern girl. She's not country music. She never was. She was pop country, just like Shania Twain. They all come here, got a record deal, and then they abandoned country music and went to Hollywood. She's not a Republican. She's not a Democrat. She's just a young girl trying to find her way. And all the people in America, you better take heed and understand one thing. You're responsible for you and you only, not everyone else, unless you have children. So grow up and go for it. My daughter just graduated college and got a job making $80,000 a year and never had a job in her life. She did it. You can do it too. And she doesn't have money when we're poor. So wake up, America.
Richard,
it's a great country. Go get you some.
In general, do you think celebrities should express their political opinions, let you know who they're voting for? We lost Richard. Jerry is in Charlestown, Rhode Island, independent. Jerry, good morning.
Morning, John. Give me a few minutes. Number one, I got to tell you that it's no wonder that the black people have been in the dark for so long with these Democratic people. There was nothing wrong with Kanye West, what he did yesterday with President Trump. Obama surrounded himself with celebrities all the time. That's what Hillary Clinton had to do. She had to bring celebrities to get people to go to her discussions and her meetings. But I will tell you, Trump has done more for the black minority people as far as working jobs than Obama has ever done. But you can't. The Democrats have got them on the plantation and won't let them go, and they're just very naive, and I cannot believe it. I can't believe how stupid they can be. But thank you.
Who's they, Jerry? Are you referring to all African Americans?
I'm talking about people of color. I'm talking about people of color. Obama did nothing for them.
All right, got your point, Jerry. John is in Baltimore, Maryland, Republican. John, go ahead.
Good morning. So my thought is that about 10 years ago, I guess it is, or maybe 15, back when, I guess maybe it's 20 now, when MTV was still a thing, they had Rock the Vote, and the celebrities would say, go out and vote. And they weren't particularly, leaning towards anyone else. But flash forward to 2016, and you have YouTube videos like Tuck Frump and Important with the cast of the Marvel movies telling you that they'll do nude scenes if you vote for Clinton. So that, to me, is great because it's going to go completely against what they wanted, and that's part of what it did. That video had millions upon millions of views, and most of it was negative comments and downvotes, wherever you want to call it, which is a sign that they're completely out of touch.
So, John, do you think in general celebrity activism backfires for political candidates?
I would say that it used to not, but now it does. Celebrities are going to push their agenda, but, the ones that go and say neutral, like go register, go vote, and try to stay neutral and things, say, I'm leaning towards this person, but you need to choose the best candidate. You need to learn the issues. That's what I would love to see from people. The guy from Nashville, or was it just Tennessee, had a good comment about, you need to decide for yourself. You need to work for yourself. He had a lot of good commentary. As far as Kanye goes and Taylor Swift, Kanye's a little bit out there, but there's more and more of the African-American community that is realizing that you can't just vote Democrat blindly. I'm not saying not to, but, there's definitely areas where they're not helping you whatsoever.
That's John in Maryland this morning. Another actress and advocate who's been in the news recently, Alyssa Milano. She was in the room for that high-profile hearing featuring Brett Kavanaugh and Christine Blasey Ford last week. During the lead-up to the vote on Brett Kavanaugh's confirmation, she cut an ad for the Michigan Democratic Party to both raise money and encourage Democrats to register to vote. Here's that ad.
So you don't need me to tell you what a horrible time this has been for women as we watch the Brett Kavanaugh travesty unfold. But I do want to say there is hope. Michigan is making history this year with an all-woman ticket for the first time ever. These strong, amazing, smart women will help represent Michigan well and fight back against Donald Trump. And we need to make sure another Brett Kavanaugh does not happen. We need to make sure that another Donald Trump does not happen again. And we can do that, but we need your support. So please chip in anything you can to help get out the vote for Michigan's all-women ticket this November.
Coming up on 7:30 on the East Coast, our question for you in this first segment of the Washington Journal today is about celebrity activism this year. Do you think it matters? If so, what celebrity, what issue? Give us a call. Tyrone is in New York City, a Democrat. Good morning.
How are you doing? I think the celebrity situation helps our country. Anytime they want to go towards people voting for their rights, I'm for it. I don't see what these people are talking about when they talk about, the Democrats are not doing anything. They decimating the black community. You had 3 Republican presidents that used outside help to become president of this country, Reagan, Nixon, and this guy here. And then you wonder why people don't want to be Republicans, because they do things that are contrary to this country. And that is definitely what happens. So Kanye West was talking about mental illness, Reagan was the one that closed the mental hospitals and put the people out on the street. And now we reap what we sow. Because we don't deal with mental illness, now we got this cat in the White House. We got people coming to the White House asking for help. These people are not doing things right for this country. And no, I will never vote Republican because I've seen what they have done. You know, here they go, taking away voters' right again. We fought for that years ago. Now you're gonna weaken the strength of the voting right? Why would you do that?
That's Tyrone, New York City. Diana's next. Temple, Texas, Republican. Good morning.
Oh, good morning. I have to respond to Tyrone in New York City. First of all, that is why I'm a Republican. That is pure ignorance. But speaking of ignorance, I don't think.
What specifically did you disagree with, Diana?
Everything you just said. Everything you just said. I know a lot of black people who actually think Abraham Lincoln was a Democrat. So I'm not surprised by anything Tyrone just said right there. It just goes along with how it works for Democrats. Democrats are uninformed. And as far as Democrats destroying America, they're the ones who want to rip up the Constitution. I think it's a Democrat who wants to get rid of the Electoral College, correct? I mean, it goes on and on about Democrats. And I remember watching Hillary's America, you know, that DVD movie that came out, and saying that Republicans run campaigns and Democrats wage war. And I always think that whenever I watch any of this stuff on Fox or CNN or whatnot, because it's such a disparity between how Republicans and Democrats run campaigns, and that's what we're in the thick of right now. And
so, Diana, bring us to celebrity activism this year and celebrity activism on behalf of Democrats and Republicans.
Well, I don't think it really works. Look at what happened with Hillary. Hillary had every celebrity in the world endorsing her. She had all the swanky parties in L.A. and Paul McCartney, whomever, you know, Barbra Streisand, everybody supporting her. She had her fireworks ordered, and look what happened. So celebrities endorsing people doesn't really work, and I think it's mostly Democrats thinking that they want to be relevant.
Do you think it was a bad idea for President Trump to have this high-profile, all the press in the Oval Office, this discussion with Kanye West yesterday?
No, I don't think it's a bad idea at all. I think that, you know, anybody who wants to voice their view is a good American. So it's nice that he's allowing people to come over and voice their view. He doesn't have to agree with everything, but he gives everybody an opportunity, like how he invited all the NFL players who had a problem, and who shows up? Nobody. I mean, yeah, I think that Democrats have hijacked the media, and that goes along with the celebrity activism. Celebrities just want to be relevant. They want to be on TV. They want their voices and face heard, and they just want to sell more stuff.
That's Diana in Texas this morning. More from that Hollywood Reporter Morning Consult poll that came out this week. The question was asked, have you ever donated to or volunteered for a cause because of a celebrity because a celebrity you liked encouraged you to do so? 76% saying no, they haven't. 11% saying they have. 13% with no opinion. Another question there was asked, have you ever not watched a movie or TV show because of the cast members' political views? 63% saying no to that question, 24% saying yes. I want to get your thoughts on celebrity activism. Dowd is waiting back in New York City. Independent, go ahead.
Yeah. Hi, good morning, boss. Can I just deviate from the subject for a second, because I saw, John, you gave that woman a lot of time who expressed certain views that are diametrically opposed. But anyway, there are two things I want to talk about. One, I'm going to go back to Africa and encourage the OAU organization, African Unity, to take away uranium from both superpowers, United States and Russia, because of what they're doing. And Africa is the biggest supplier of uranium. So once they take away uranium from them, they will not be able to furnish their nuclear plants and things, which is making plutonium. Because without plutonium, you cannot support.
So Dowd, bring us to celebrity activism.
Well, as far as celebrity activism, why see hypocrisy? I don't mind. You remember when Trump said last year in 2016, he said, "Oh, how come they say the poor having a heroin, this and that disaster, and Barack Obama is conversing or going around, with Jay-Z and Beyonce and campaigning." Then yesterday he went and campaigned with his own, and look at what he said. Why this Trump a slogan, lock them up, lock her up, lock up, lock down Feinstein, lock everything up, is going to boomerang. They're going to lose the House. The Republicans are going to lose the House in November. And when they lose the House, all these things are going to be brought to light to find out about it. It's not a matter whether you've been supported by celebrity or the celebrity support or non-support has nothing to do with the question. The question is being honest and being truthful. I've been in America for over 42 years. I've never seen an American president who has been dishonest and who lies like this man. I've never. This man lies, and worst of all, he follows beyond prostitute. Well, I've never seen an American president who followed beyond prostitute.
That's Dowda this morning in New York City. Eric's up next. Laurel, Maryland, Democrat. Good morning.
Hey, how you on? Hey, me, about the activism is you can go with whoever you want to, but let's make some stuff clear about well, this guy to tell all African Americans they stupid because they follow the Democratic Party. We're smarter than what you think. We know exactly what's going on. All you have to do is, evidently, y'all don't read your history or learn history, because what happened to the Democratic Party, it switched over after the civil rights vote. And if you think I'm lying or whatever, start asking some people what they used to be before they became a Republican, what their family used to be before they became a Republican. I know exactly who I will vote for. I vote for people that's on my views. I vote Republican. I'll vote Larry Hogan. I vote a lot of, but I vote for people that I know that's in my best interest, and that's for all people that I know in my family. We're not dumb by a long shot. You might think we're dumb. We see exactly what's going on, about what's going on in this country. So go ahead and just keep misunderstanding us. That's what you do.
That's Eric in Maryland this morning. A few tweets as we've been having this conversation. Kevin writes in, we might as well have celebrities in politics since our president is a failed reality TV show personality. Alan writes in, nope, they don't matter. Their thoughts do not influence my daily life or views in any way. Denise saying Kanye also stated that there is a crisis in the inner cities due to poor economic conditions, no chance to compete, talking about what he was actually talking about with the president. Michael saying only 58% of eligible voters voted in 2016. Anything that gets people interested in the process matters. And one more this morning from Bill King. Celebrity activism is fine, but those waters are murky. Taylor Swift, the darling of conservative America, comes out and endorses a Democrat, is now #1 on their hit list. I want to hear from you this morning. This first segment of the Washington Journal we've set aside for this discussion about celebrity activism, coming a day after a very busy day for celebrities at the White House and a very busy past 2 weeks for celebrity activism. Here's a story in today's op-ed pages of the Washington Post, Eugene Robinson's column, saying when the big political news of the week involves Taylor Swift and Kanye West, we're in serious trouble. We shouldn't have to pay the slightest attention to what those pop music megastars think about the midterm election and President Trump. We do pay attention, though. The celebrification of our politics is complete. Heaven help us. And we can only hope this doesn't mark the end game of American society. Who cares? It's not yet clear, but if any substantial fraction, specifically of Taylor Swift's 112 million Instagram followers, does care and acts on her advice, we could see a real impact on November 6th. The column goes on to say, in the age of social media and wall-to-wall cable news, fame matters. In 2016, Trump's fame overcame such trifles as his ignorance, lack of experience, and glaring unfitness for office. We are better off when celebrities model civic engagement. We are lost, however, if we take them seriously. If you want to read Eugene Robinson's column, today's Washington Post. Gary, back in Georgia, Atlanta, Georgia, Democrat. Good morning.
Yes. Hey, how you doing, America? Now, I just want to say, when did white people become an expert on black Democrats? I don't understand that. But let me tell you something. Let me tell you what was happening yesterday. What was happening yesterday is that people were dying in Florida. People were dying in Georgia. The stock market had dropped and wiped out everything people had owned. How about the guy, the newspaper man that was killed in Turkey? The world was full of stuff going on, and he in there entertaining with Kanye West. Had that had been President Barack Obama, those Republicans, their hair would be on fire. Barack Obama did a campaign speech 2 weeks after Sandy disaster, and Donald Trump took to the webpage talking about how wrong it was and how wrong it was. But yet he went on the same day and had those things done while people were losing everything they own. This is the hypocrisy of the Republican Party. And to the lady in Texas, Hillary Clinton had some celebrities, but you voted for one. And that's what you stuck with. Thanks.
That's Gary this morning. Gary, I want to touch on some of the stories that you bring up, including Hurricane Michael and the disaster it's caused in Florida and across southeast United States. The death toll now up to 7 in the wake of that very fast-moving hurricane. You mentioned the stock market. The front page of the Wall Street Journal, jittery investors deepen the stock fall. The Dow is down 5.2% after a second day of a rout. Anxiety rises as tech shares fall. If you want to read the Wall Street Journal, that's the lead story today. And then you mentioned the investigation into the death of Jamal Khashoggi, who is a activist and a Washington Post columnist. This is the lead story in today's Washington Post. Recording said to reveal his killing. The Turkish government has told U.S. officials that it has audio and video recordings that prove the Washington Post columnist was killed inside the Saudi consulate in Istanbul. The recordings show that a Saudi security team detained Khashoggi in the consulate after he walked in on October 2nd to obtain an official document before his upcoming wedding, and then they killed him and dismembered his body. The audio recordings in particular provide some of the most persuasive and gruesome evidence that the Saudi team is responsible for Khashoggi's death, according to those officials. Plenty of stories in the Washington Post about the investigation and calls for more investigation into Khashoggi's death. Here's a column from the Friday opinion page in the Post. It's by Ben Cardin, senator from Maryland. We must stand for Khashoggi, he writes. With each passing day, the limited information that has surfaced has come from meticulous reporting by media outlets such as the Post, and it paints a grim picture of what may have happened and who might be involved. A full investigation must occur without delay, he says, with transparent support from all parties. Concurrently, the United States, the historic standard bearer for human rights and press freedom, should stand ready and have action in response to what happened there. If you want to read Ben Cardin's column, it's in today's Washington Post. Those are a few of the stories the last caller was referring to. Gary's in Newport, Kentucky, line for Republicans. Gary, your thoughts on this idea of celebrity activism this year?
Well, as a member of SAG, I've never been impressed by celebrities endorsing candidates or politics. I mean, how can you, when you're drawing your residuals off a movie, make a stand against guns when you've did nothing but use guns in a movie that you're making money off of? So my comment as far as celebrities in politics, it's all about the politics. It's all about the agenda, the economy, whatever. But anyway, my advice to them is go out and cure a disease, and you might impress somebody.
Gary, what kind of acting have you done? Gary, you still with us? We'll go to Tony in Waterbury, Connecticut. Independent. Good morning.
Good morning. How you doing this morning?
Doing well.
Thanks for taking my call. My comment is Marsha Blackburn is not a good person. 60 Minutes did a special on her and the other guy who was going to be the drug czar in September. And Marsha Blackburn, when she was a senator, helped sponsor that bill for the opioid corporations that is going through the country right now, where cities can have tons of opioids at the pharmacy, and they're just being sold. Marsha Blackburn, the girl who's running for governor of Tennessee. Now, Kanye West, everybody knows he's been sick since his mother's been dead. The president had no business having that crazy dude in the White House like that. And that's all I got to say.
Plenty of focus in today's papers on Kanye West, a very high-profile Trump supporter. Another actor that is supporting President Trump, Dean Cain. And he was on this program just a few weeks ago, and he talked about what it's like to be a Trump supporter in Hollywood. Here's what he had to say.
I'll discuss policy as my support of President Trump, his policies, with anybody, and I'm happy to have the conversations. And I'm not going to get all riled up and start vilifying the person who's talking to me. And listen, if you have a better point, not you personally, you might, but if someone has a better point, convince me, I'll change my opinion. At the same time, hear me out, and without vilifying me or getting too emotional or or bent up, and fine, that's great. But I welcome differing viewpoints, and I welcome the discussion. I think part of the problem we're having is that people won't have the discussion. They'll just name call, and the name calling is horrendous, and it's become, and maybe it's because of social media, it's just become commonplace where you can just hurl out, these expletives about people and these accusations which have absolutely no bearing in truth. And that's what they do. Oh, I'm going to label you this. You're a racist. You're a homophobe. You're an Islamophobe. You're a you're a xenophobe. It's just boom, 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 and that's ridiculous. So I encourage the conversations. I'll have the conversation with anybody in Hollywood, anybody.
And we're encouraging our conversation this morning about celebrity activism this year, this midterm election year. Do you think it matters? Has it moved you at all on any issue? Eli is in St. Clair Shores, Michigan, Republican. Good morning.
Hey, I think Kanye West is doing a great job. I applaud him. He's speaking truth to power. He understands that the Democrat elite don't care about black people. They care about black votes. And this notion that the Democrat Party switched from being racist Democrats to Republican is a fallacy. The Dixiecrats, who are the racist Democrats, I think the civil rights bill that was passed in 1964, 2 out of those 22 senators became Republicans. In addition, the Northern Democrats never kicked those racist Southern Democrats out of the party. They put them in chairmanships on committees, and they broke bread with them every day. I'm from Detroit. I've seen the damage that Democrat policies have done to schools, have done to law enforcement, have done to churches, have done to businesses. They come in there like a cancer, and they consider a great city like Detroit the host. They feed on it until they destroy it, and once they destroy it, they leave it.
Eli, since you were talking history a little bit ago, when did celebrity activism, do you think, become a thing in politics?
I think we've always had celebrity activists. So I've heard back in the 30s we had people like Lindbergh and actors and actresses who were engaged in politics. It's been ongoing, and that's their right.
Do you think it's more prevalent today just in this world of social media and everybody having a Twitter feed and a Facebook page?
I think it's probably more contentious now because we're more divided. So anytime a celebrity does come out for one side or the other, it's highlighted and and the press picks it up and runs with it because it makes news. We're very contentious right now. We're very divided. So anytime someone comes out on one side or the other, it's going to make news.
Kanye West certainly making news yesterday. Here's a tweet that he put out after that meeting with President Trump. He said, "They will tell you to speak your mind, to be original, and when you do it, they call you crazy." And one more tweet this morning from Pat Sajak, the host of Wheel of Fortune, tweeting yesterday afternoon amid all of this coverage of Kanye West, saying, "I would encourage you to vote next month, but if you need a TV game show host to remind you, then you probably shouldn't." Kelly's up next in Bluefield, West Virginia, an independent. Good morning.
Good morning. Celebrity activism doesn't influence my vote at all. And I really think that Kanye, he's just too radical, and he got riled up, and it was almost like you were watching it, but you were just on pins and needles. So I think the celebrities should just stick to their job and keep their mouth shut, really, about the voting in the United States. Thank you.
Melvin's up next. Fort Lauderdale, Florida, Democrat. Good morning.
Good morning. Oh, yes. A couple things. We'll get to celebrity activism, and if you should heed their advice about who you should vote for. But I just I comment about that, but I just wanted to express a couple other things. Number one, anyone that listen to Kanye taking this being serious, they really have a problem because the black people know about Kanye. Kanye 2 years ago was out just trying to solicit money from Google, free money, $53 million to help him out of the hole he was in because of all the money he would he had lost. So that's different things about Kanye you can't believe. I mean, he talked about people working and everything else. He was out there trying to get free money. With respect to the other gentlemen that are talking about blacks and how lazy and how we've been in the dark by following Democrats, why did you ask how many people make comments like that, especially the white people make those comments? How many of them willing to give up all the programs that the Democrats passed to help them, such as Medicare, Social Security, and Medicaid? And then the gentleman was talking about when the blacks switched from being Republicans to Democrats. That is right. But they switched after Nixon wouldn't provide Martin Luther King any help to get out of Selma jail when he was getting ready to kill him. That's when most switched. It wasn't a particularly party switch like that, but the blacks switched from, majority of them switched from being Republican to Democrat when King did it back here after getting out of jail with Kennedy and sent his brother down there to help King get out of jail down there and protect him in Selma. That's when it switched for blacks during that particular time. Thank you very much.
That's Melvin in Florida. Joe is in Woodbridge, Virginia. Joe, your thoughts about celebrity activism this year?
Oh, yeah. Before I get to political activism, I just want to throw out there that I thank God every day that I wake up that the Democrats are not in control of this country. I mean, when I see them scratching at the doors of the Supreme Court and attacking politicians and restaurants and shouting people down, I realize, as a Christian, that we could never, ever let these people gain power again. I think they're mentally disturbed. But as far as celebrity activism, it does not affect me one bit because my beliefs are my beliefs. I think celebrities are paid entertainers. If I'm going to purchase a ticket out of my hard-earned money, and I'm a blue-collar worker, and if I'm going to purchase a ticket to see an NFL game or see somebody sing, well, then they better play the game and they better sing. I don't want to hear their viewpoint. I don't want to hear their political position. I don't want to be told by an entertainer how I should think or who I should vote for. So I just don't agree with.
Do you feel that way about Kanye West talking about his support for Donald Trump as well?
Kanye West's opinion, I mean, they have the right, obviously, to be political activists. I'm not saying they can't do that, but even Kanye West, and I'm a conservative Republican, his viewpoint does not affect me one bit. I mean, I like Donald Trump. Long before Kanye West came around, I voted for Donald Trump because of his positions on many things that I agreed with. So, I mean, maybe if the voting age was 12 years old, celebrities would have more of an impact on the elections. But I think celebrities think they're, way more important than they really are. And I don't think they have much of an impact at all on mature voters who are out in the workforce just trying to make ends meet.
That's Joe in Virginia this morning. As we said, it's been a busy couple weeks for celebrity activism here in Washington, D.C. Back to last week, last Thursday, this was the scene outside the Supreme Court where Amy Schumer led a rally in opposition to Brett Kavanaugh's Supreme Court nomination. She was eventually arrested at a protest inside one of the Senate buildings. Here's what she had to say.
Wanted to thank you all so much for showing up today. That's what we're going to do. We're going to keep showing up. And no matter how this goes, they cannot keep us down. We will win. A vote for Kavanaugh is a vote saying women don't matter. Yes. Let's stay together. Let's fight. Let's keep showing up.
And here's just one of the headlines after the Brett Kavanaugh confirmation vote when he officially became a member of the Supreme Court from the conservative Breitbart website, Hollywood Unhinged, after Brett Kavanaugh confirmation. And you can read the rest of that headline there. Robert is in Lynchburg, Virginia, independent. Go ahead.
Yes. Good morning to you, America. As far as celebrity is concerned, being activists, Kanye West needs to have his head checked, just like all of the Republicans. They talking about what Donald Trump have done for the black folks, and if you look, he haven't done anything for the black folks. He just got people snookered that he's doing this and doing that, and he's getting rich off of the White House since he's been in there because of he take these security with him to his hotels and get rich overnight and charge it to the government. And look at the deficit now since he's been in there. But the Republicans don't talk about the deficit since Donald Trump been in there. But every time Obama would spend $1, they was complaining. And look at the demonstration that Obama had when they had that right wing demonstrating against them when he was in the White House on the White House steps. So they can talk all they want to, but ain't nobody crazy. And we've been through this before. And all the Republicans now that is in the Senate and in the Congress, they used to be Democrats. So that's where the Dixiecrats went to. Thank you.
To Pedro, waiting in Warrenton, Virginia, Republican. Good morning.
Hey, good morning. I don't think it's fair that the Republicans are encroaching on the Democrats' turf. Everybody knows that this political system we have is kind of already balanced. It's a pretty good balance. It's like 49-51. The Republicans have the racists and the white people. The Democrats have the media and the African Americans and all the illegal aliens. So I think it's unfair for Trump to try to, cut into the Democrats, their voters. It just isn't fair. And, so Kanye is kind of breaking the rules.
And who sets those rules, Pedro?
I think maybe, I don't know, Don Lemon and his people were kind of upset over what Kanye was saying. I don't think the people in the mainstream media are real happy about Kanye speaking up. A little bit of tongue-in-cheek a minute ago, but truthfully, you know what? I think what they're saying about Kanye is just out of bounds. The guy is just a regular guy. He had a super talent in music, so he became famous. He's got enough guts that he's telling the truth about a certain topic, and the Democrats and the media just cannot put up with this. If the African Americans leave the Democratic Party, even just a small percentage of the voters leave the Democratic Party, the Democratic Party is in serious trouble.
That's Pedro in Warrenton, Virginia this morning. A few more tweets during this conversation. Stephen writes in, we have an activist celebrity in the White House whose cause is chaos. Greg saying it must matter a great deal, celebrity activism. The president certainly spends a lot of his time attacking his celebrity opposition and recruiting celebrity supporters. Emma, people need to start thinking for themselves, do the research on policies and economics, then make up your own mind. And one more, Bobby saying celebrities use their notoriety and voice to sway the people. Wealthy people use their money to sway the politicians. Why are we more concerned about celebrity activism than rich man activism? Few minutes left in this discussion this morning. Did want to note there was another celebrity in Washington, D.C. yesterday. Clint Eastwood spoke briefly yesterday at the opening of the National Law Enforcement Museum here in the district. Here's what he had to say.
Long before I was telling people to get off my lawn, I was telling people to go ahead and make my day. So I won't say any of those today. I just want to say how much I appreciate being involved with the peace officers organization and the police officers in general. I've been lucky enough to portray them, lucky enough to make a living portraying them, and I'm glad to be here.
Time for just one or two more calls. The question, celebrity activism this year, does it matter? Larry, Waynesboro, Tennessee, independent. What do you think?
Well, I tell you what, I grew up under the Jim Crow laws in Memphis, Tennessee,
and I could not ride on certain seats on the bus. And the guy that called in a while ago about Marsha Blackburn and Bredesen in Tennessee, Marsha Blackburn has never been a senator. She's running for Senate, and she's not running for governor, so he's all messed up on that. But Marsha Blackburn has moved up the last few days, and she's ahead by 14 points. And Kanye West came out telling exactly the way it is. Your Planned Parenthood, which has nothing to do with parenthood, 70 million babies, basically 40+% are black babies, have been aborted. Now you tell me that whenever people are standing up, the party that stands up for Planned Parenthood, put the Planned Parenthood clinics right in the low-income areas, and it's a large majority of them are the black, Hispanic, and the low-income, and half of those babies are female. So they're not standing up for women's rights.
That's Larry in Waynesboro, Tennessee, our last caller in this segment of the Washington Journal.